I'm married to a woman who acts like a teenage girl, and I don't know whether to cry or laugh. My wife is 34, and we've been married for 6 years. Everything was completely normal until about 3 months ago when she discovered K-pop on TikTok. At first, I thought it was cute. She'd play some songs while cooking dinner, and I'd catch her doing little dance moves. But within a week, something shifted. She came home with $400 worth of albums from Target, photo cards spilling out of her purse, posters rolled up under her arm. I laughed and said, "Babe, aren't we a little old for bedroom posters?" She didn't laugh back. 2 weeks later, I noticed our credit card statement. $847 spent at some K-pop merchandise store. Light sticks, photo books, something called a bias wrecker kit. When I asked about it, she got defensive and said it makes her happy and I should be supportive. Okay, fine. People have hobbies. Then she started waking up at 2 a.m. I'd roll over and see the blue light from her phone. She'd be watching these concert videos with her earbuds in, completely mesmerized. One night, I asked her to come back to bed, and she snapped at me that I wouldn't understand. The next week, she announced she was learning Korean, downloaded Duolingo and everything, started labeling items around our house with Korean words. Our coffee maker had a sticky note that said, "Hiopi me kyo." She'd practice pronunciation while I was trying to watch TV. I told myself this was just a phase, that she'd get bored like she did with her yoga phase last year or the sourdough phase before that. But this felt different. She started dressing differently too. Bought all these oversized hoodies and baggy jeans, said it was Korean street fashion. She's 5'2", and these clothes just swallowed her, but she insisted she looked cute. Then about a month ago, she casually mentioned she found a Korean language tutor online, some college student who could help her practice conversation. I said, "That's great, honey. How much does that cost?" She said $40 an hour, but it's worth it because he's a native speaker. His name was Minjun, and he was 19 years old. She showed me his profile picture. Baby-faced kid with dyed blonde hair. I felt weird about it, but didn't want to be that controlling husband, so I said, "Okay, just don't spend too much." Last Tuesday, I had to leave work early because of a migraine. I came home around 2 p.m. and heard giggling coming from our bedroom. High-pitched, flirty giggling I hadn't heard from her in years. I opened the door, and there she was, sitting cross-legged on our bed in this tight crop top I'd never seen before with Korean text across the chest. Her laptop was angled perfectly, so the camera caught her at the most flattering position. On the screen was Min Jun, this kid who looked like he just graduated high school, and they were both laughing about something. She had her hand covering her mouth in that shy way and was twirling her hair. When she noticed me, she didn't even look embarrassed. She just smiled and said, "Oh, hey babe, I'm just practicing my conversation skills with Min Jun." Then she actually introduced us. Like I was supposed to wave at this teenager she was clearly flirting with. I stood there completely frozen. She eventually said she had to go and close the laptop. I asked her what the hell that was and why she was dressed like that for a language lesson. She got defensive again, said I was being jealous and controlling and that her outfit was just comfortable. That night I couldn't sleep. Something felt really off. So at 3 a.m. I grabbed my phone and checked our bank account. My stomach dropped. She'd been paying him $320 every single week for the past 2 months. That's $2,560 total. But we'd only talked about the lessons a month ago, which meant she'd been doing this in secret. I scrolled through the transactions. There were also payments to something called Super Chat. I googled it. It's how you tip during live streams. She'd been sending money during K-pop idol live streams. $20 here, $50 there. Over $400 in the past month just in tips. The next morning I confronted her, showed her the bank statements, asked her why she was lying about when the lesson started and why she's throwing away thousands of dollars. She started crying. Not sad crying, angry crying. She said I don't understand what it's like to finally feel young again. That ever since she turned 30, she's felt invisible and boring, and this makes her feel alive. That Minjun actually listens to her and thinks she's interesting. I said he's being paid $40 an hour to think you're interesting. That's his job. She screamed at me that I'm just jealous because someone actually pays attention to her. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. She asked if we could look into adopting a Korean baby. Said she's been researching it and thinks it would help her feel more connected to the culture. I just stared at her. This woman who 3 months ago had never heard of K-pop now wants to adopt a child to feel closer to it. I told her she needed to stop the lessons immediately and maybe talk to a therapist. She refused. Said I was trying to control her happiness. I've been sleeping in the guest room for a week now. Last night I heard her through the walls practicing some kind of fan chant for a concert that's happening in Seoul next month. This morning I found a $1,200 plane ticket confirmation in her email.